This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome to the Elevate Construction Podcast, where we train superintendents to be remarkable. My name is Jason Schroeder, and today's shorter podcast for superintendents is about asking for help. This is the most difficult thing to do ever, but we are going to talk about it today. So why would you want to listen today? Because I can make you more successful than you are now. Not because of what I'm saying, but because of what has worked for superintendents over the last 100 years, the best builders, the best generals, the best master builders in our industry. These are tried and true methods and techniques. And so I want to give you a quote here. When you are too embarrassed to ask for help, that's a little knock at your door saying you're insecure. And here's why I want to kind of give you that quote and dispel a myth is the old time rugged Western John Wayne kind of a feel and look was that you have to be this independent lone wolf, rugged, don't ask for help, kind of, lone person that never asks for advice and doesn't share and collaborate, right? That's not going to make a superintendent successful. That image may be fun for Westerns and for movies and for the Wild Wild West, but it's not good for construction because we are more successful when we're integrated, when we're collaborative, when we're asking for help, when we're sharing, and when we're networking with other people. So let me say that quote one more time. When you are too embarrassed to ask for help, that's a little knock at your door saying you're insecure. So I want that quote to really sting a little bit for those of us, and I'm including me in this, for those of us who have had a difficult time sharing and asking for help. I remember a general superintendent, and in fact, I was at his house the other day, and we were reminiscing on some of these stories, but he said, "Hey, Jason, you're not an island. You need to make sure that you reach out and ask for help." And that frustrated me for a while until I really got his point. And the point was that we should network. And so I'm very grateful for what he taught me. Here's another quote. You can learn from wisdom or sad experience. And so those who don't learn from others, those who don't ask for help will learn from sad experience instead of wisdom. And those who do ask for help and do ask to share and network and to learn from other people, they do learn from wisdom instead of sad experience. And so it costs so much for us to train people through sad experience. It's just not worth the time. It's just not worth it. Let me give you a quick story about how it should work. We were going to build a basement under a 4-story building, and we were about 6 months ahead of another project that was up in Phoenix. And I had learned to share and to network from this wonderful general superintendent, and he had suggested that I go up there. And so, in fact, I went up there, spent a little bit of time with the team and watched them. And I watched them get out of the basement. This was a huge basement. They had 2 tower cranes. They had core walls going up ahead of the rest of the structure. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was just this mega project. And I remember talking to the senior superintendent on the project, and he said, "Jason, we didn't coordinate logistics well enough for us to get out of the hole on time. And so we were 6 weeks behind once we got out of this hole. And you watch out for this, this, and this." And so I went back to the project where we were going to build that basement under the 4 stories of mild reinforced concrete decks and columns and shear walls, and really tried to plan out the basement. And that's where I first learned about or came up with this concept of day-to-day geographical planning. So I knew from walking this other project that they hadn't planned logistically to fit all of the things in the hole that they needed to fit in order to finish on time. So I took our new basement, our new construction, and I drew out day by day. Okay, we want to dig 3 spread footings this day and place it, after 2 days, meaning we would do the excavation, rebar templates, column dowels, and then we would place. Then we want to do sequence 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And so once the sequences went around, then we had to do the columns, then we had to do the perimeter walls. Half of them were shotcrete. And then we had to start doing slab on grade preparation. And so we have 4 major phases, 4 major sequences of concrete. You have your spread footings, you have your columns, you have your walls, you have your perimeter walls, and then you have your slab on grade. And then as I started to draw the day-by-day geographical analysis. That's what I call it, meaning so let's just take one day. I took an entire basement map of what it was supposed to be, and I drew, okay, here's where we'll put the pump. Here's where the forklift will be. Here's where the crew will be working. This is where the rebar staging. And then I said, okay, day 2, what are we doing? Okay, we don't have a concrete pump because we're not placing, but we will have the excavator in there. We'll be hauling out dump trucks. We'll be reinforcing this area. Every different day had a different circumstance. And so by the time we got perimeter walls and columns and we were starting to do slab on grade prep, it was working on the slab on grade preparation, underground MEP, perimeter shotcrete walls, placing the footings out ahead, forming columns, craning and rebar. There was like 18 different activities. And what I found is that our original schedule, our original sequences were too short by about 3 or 4 weeks, come to find out. And once I drew everything out day by day, I really found out what the is. I found out what we were dealing with, because concrete and basements don't follow a production rhythm. They follow a logistical rhythm, meaning you can build as much concrete of anything as long as you have the space and the resources to go do it. So I had learned from this other project to plan for that, and it was remarkable, and we finished on time. And I've said numerous times, we finished the concrete structure on that down to the wire within 4 hours of when we had projected to finish it. And that was really remarkable considering all of the things that we had to go through to get that project done. So that's my little story. And the point is, the question rather is, would we have finished that basement on time? Would we have finished that overall project in time if I hadn't gone to this other project and seen some of the things that were dealing with? I think the answer would be no. And as I continued to tour projects and learn other things, I would learn things like the roadblock tracking maps, and I would learn things like additions to TAC planning, and I would learn better ways to do the last planner system. And I would learn that we need to do such and such with the exterior skin and do a certain amount of coordination. And this is how you should do your mock-ups. And this is how you should do that. In fact, I even have a lean video on my YouTube channel that talks about go, see, and steal. Go, see, and steal. And so the concept really is that we really need to be successful. And the way we are to be successful is to learn from the lessons of history, learn from wisdom, and not sad experience. So here are the things that I would challenge us to do. Number 1, tour other projects and walk with other superintendents to find out what they're going through and what they're dealing with. Number 2, steal other people's ideas shamelessly. Just say, hey, I'm going to steal this idea and implement it on my project. That's the best form of flattery. Number 3, continue to read wonderful books. Continue to read trainings, take trainings, and do certification trainings and other things that will improve you and your skill and your trade in your role in construction. Number 5, take suggestions. If somebody suggests it, it's okay. Just use it and go win. It doesn't matter who gets credit for it. In fact, I remember a really neat quote that said, and I think it was by Andrew Carnegie, that said, you can go as far as you want to in life as long as you don't care who gets the credit. And that principle applies here as well. Number 6, use the fresh eyes systems. Make sure that before your project goes out at your 1/3 milestone, 2/3 milestone, and then before the end, that you have other people come in and give you a second set of eyes. I remember on that particular project, I walked a general superintendent through the project. I walked company resources through the project. We looked at it in pre-construction. He was fantastic. I remember I even called a general superintendent that was in retirement and asked him to come have lunch with me and walk the project to get a fresh set of eyes, because I had learned to do this in that company, and it was fantastic. Number 7, ask people to give you feedback and let them walk your project, and say things like, hey, I want you to come to the project and I want you to give me feedback. Because the current condition is that nobody asks for help, and we make the same mistakes over and over and over. And no one walks other people's projects. And we are training people through sad experience, which does 2 things. It wastes money, but then the other part of it is when they fail, they learn to build projects in the failing manner. They do that over and over, and they get this learned hopelessness. That's why I continue to say, and especially if anybody's listening, don't be mad at me, but take this to heart. People will continue to build bad projects if that has been their experience. And so we can't have that. We need to have successful projects. So real quick, could you imagine an industry in construction where superintendents actually networked, once a month walked other jobs, asked for feedback, raised their hand when they needed help, and didn't act like lone wolves, that would be remarkable. And I constantly say, and I still believe this, the company in construction that can leverage that and build that kind of culture will have a strategic advantage over any other construction company in our industry. And I want to close out with this. When we take superintendents through our boot camp, and this actually works for those who go to the boot camps, we call them the alphas. And that's the mascot or the theme of the superintendent boot camp. And our saying is, howl to be heard, hunt as a pack, and be the alpha. What that means is we need to be professional communicators. Howl. Wolves, they howl, they communicate. They're a very social group. Hunt as a pack, meaning don't go be the lone wolf. Hunt as a pack. Hunt with your other superintendents. If you are in a company where there's 10 other projects going on, you better be networking with those superintendents on the quality of trade partners, on current events, on best practices, things that they're seeing in the industry. And if we would do that, then we could be the alphas in this industry, whether we're male or female, and really win and win constantly and consistently because we are leveraging the strength of the team, which if we don't do, that's one of the 8 wastes, is not using the wisdom of the team. So superintendents, my challenge to you is to go network, go share, tour other projects once a month or once a quarter at a minimum, steal ideas, read the best books, take the best trainings, take people's suggestions, get a second set of eyes, get fresh eyes, and always ask people for feedback and be that person where the CEO of your company says, I like so-and-so. He always asks me for feedback. So in closing, the vision for this is that you have a more remarkable experience, that you don't have to feel like your importance comes or your significance comes from coming up with ideas yourself, but that you can enjoy the success that comes from leveraging the strength of the team. I hope that you can be happy with this, and I would challenge you to go do this right now. Put on your leader standard work on your calendar to tour another project once a month. Start there. I promise you it will work out, and you will be calling me and praising me because I am sharing things that other people have shared with me. In closing, please reach out to me at jasons@elevateconstructionist.com if you have any questions, want to do a podcast interview, or if you want to just generally give us feedback. We absolutely love feedback. So until we meet again, please put that on your calendar and go tour just for 3 months other projects and see if it does not make a difference. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.